Hey guys, welcome to another video in which we will be discussing Dynamic Host Control Protocol or DHCP. In our last video, we installed Ubuntu and Windows 2016 server. Okay, this one. As you could see, these two virtual machine is both a server. Okay, so both can host a DHCP server. And if you haven't installed both of these VM, just go to the description and I will give you the link. We will show you how to install DHCP on a Linux server and how to install it on a Windows server. There are two ways to associate an IP address to your computer. Okay, you can do static and you can do dynamic. So let's go first to static. So in static, you manually configure the IP address in the LAN card of your computer. Okay, suppose we don't have the DHCP server here. Okay, so let's eliminate that. So how do we do static? Okay, go to network connections. Then here I have two physical LAN cards. So what LAN cards are those? I have Ethernet and I have the Wi-Fi. Okay, so what does Ethernet do? So this Ethernet LAN card connects me to the network through a physical cable. Okay, then Wi-Fi will connect me to an access point through radio frequency. Will also connect me to the network. In order for us to assign a static IP, just right click which LAN card you want to set a static IP. Okay, for example, this one, I just go to just go to properties, right click, properties, then go to IPv4. Then in order for you to set a static IP manually, just click use the following IP address. Okay, then apply or supply the following IP address. So I want to add an IP address of 192.168.0.5, then subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, also known as /24. Okay, having the proper IP address and the subnet mask will connect you to your network. So how do we test that? Okay, just click OK, then click another OK. Okay, just open a CMD. Okay, then ping an IP address that you know that belongs to the network. For example, 192.168.0.1. So I can ping a device inside that network. Okay, so my IP is 0.5 and there's an IP address of 0.1. Okay, so how would I know if I am connected to the internet? Okay, so you can just try to ping any website that you want. Google.com. Okay, so you cannot ping Google.com. The reason is you don't have a gateway and a DNS. Okay, so in order for you to have an internet connection, you need to supply the proper gateway and the proper DNS. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so let's go back to network connections. Okay, then Wi-Fi, right click properties, go to IPv4, then add the proper gateway. Okay, usually the gateway is always that one. Okay, it depends on your network. So 192.168.0.1 are also known as the first usable. Okay, then add an IP address to DNS. Okay. So for example, the DNS of Google 8.8.8.8. Okay. Okay. Supplying the proper gateway and the proper DNS will connect you to the internet. So let's check. Yes. Okay. Then okay. So let's try to ping Google. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Okay, so we can now ping google.com. Okay, let's try ping YouTube or Facebook. Okay, so I have an internet connection. So that's how you do static. Okay. It's okay to use static if you only have few computers. But what if the network becomes bigger? Okay, you need to use a DHCP. So let's go back to our topology. So in our topology, if you eliminate the DHCP server, you need to configure each and every PC on your network. Okay, you need to put a unique IP on computer 1, computer 2, and computer 3. But if you have a DHCP server, each of your PC will have its own unique IP address automatically. So what does the DHCP do? So DHCP automate the process of configuring IP address for your devices on your network. So what is the importance of having a DHCP server on a big network? Okay, so DHCP minimizes configuration errors caused by manual IP addressing, such as typographical errors or address conflicts caused by manual assignment of IP address to more than one computer at the same time. Okay, to further understand how DHCP works, let's try to install it on my Ubuntu server. So in my Ubuntu server, the DHCP service is not yet installed. So how can I install that service? I need to have an access to the internet. Okay. But as of now, my virtual machine doesn't have an internet connection. Yeah, network is unreachable. As you can see, this virtual machine is being hosted on my laptop. Yes, my laptop has an internet, but this VM virtual machine doesn't. So from the start, when we installed this virtual machine, we configured the Ethernet of Ubuntu as VMnet1 host only. Okay, let's check that. So the Ubuntu is on VMnet1 host only. So we just need to change it to VMnet0 or auto bridging. Okay. So how do we do that? So I'm just going to go to settings. So network adapter. Just change the VMnet0. Okay, then click OK. So let's go back to my VM and you will see a connection failed. So why did that happen? But the question is, how could we know which LAN card is bridged to our virtual machine? So which physical LAN card is it connected? Okay, so in order to know that, we need to go to Edit, then go to Virtual Network Editor. Here it is. How would we know if our Ubuntu has an internet connection. Okay, so in my topology, my Ubuntu server becomes the DHCP client. Okay, so who is the server? My modem. Okay, so right now we're going to install the DHCP service or the application itself. So I just changed from regular user to root user. So the name of the application is ISC DHCP-server. So let's wait for it. Okay, done. Okay, since I have already installed the DHCP server or the application, I'll just bring back the Ubuntu to BMnet 1 host only. Let's go back here. Okay, then bring this back here. Okay, then let's go and apply it on our virtual machine. So just go back here, go back to settings. Okay, then just click network adapter, then choose BMnet 1. Okay. So our Ubuntu server is back on being a host only. Okay, same with the Windows server. Here. Okay, since our virtual machine Ubuntu server is back in BMnet 1, let's check what is the IP address. Okay, so you can see there is an IP address of 192.168.10.128. So where did that IP address came from? Okay, so in BMnet 1, in your virtual switch, okay, there's a DHCP configured there. Okay, so let's go back to our topology here. Okay, so in this switch, there's a network of 192.168.10.0. Okay. So where could I find that? Go back here, go back to Edit, Virtual Network Editor. Okay, so we just need to click Change Settings. Click Yes. And you will see this. Okay, so go to BMnet 1, and here you will see that there's a DHCP. So if we want to configure a DHCP on our Ubuntu, we need to disable this local DHCP on our virtual switch. Okay, so let's just disable it. Okay, apply, then click OK. So going back to our topology, we will just going to eliminate this network. Okay, so just delete this. Okay. So going back to our Ubuntu machine, okay, let's check if it still has an IP address. IP space A still has an IP address of 10.128, so I'm going to restart the network. So just go to wired settings and on and up. Okay, and let's check. Yeah, so it doesn't have any IP address. So here are the requirements for DHCP. Okay, so number 1, server that will run DHCP should not be configured as a DHCP client. So what does it mean? In order to create a DHCP server, you must configure your server with a static IP address. Okay. So that's the first requirement. Okay, so now let's set a static IP on our Ubuntu. Or connecting, work settings, and just go to your button, go to IPv4, click manual, then set it manually. So for example, I want an IP address of 192.168.24.1. I create that one because this Ubuntu server will be the gateway. 255.255.255.0. So let's say the gateway is also 192.168.24.1. Okay, then let's put a static DNS. So how do we do that? Just turn this off and put 8.8.8.8. Okay, so if you want a second DNS, just put a comma, then space. For example, 4.2.2.2. Okay, then click apply. Turn this on and off. Okay, then go back to CMD or the terminal. Check if you already have a IP address. So yeah, so the IP address of your VM Ubuntu is 192.168.24.1. So we set this IP address manually. So let's go back to our requirement list. Okay, the second requirement. So the DHCP server for the DHCP service / application must be installed. Okay, so we already did that earlier, so we're done with the requirement number 2. Let's go to the requirement number 3. Okay, DHCP server must be configured with a range of IP addresses. Okay, so this is also known as a scope. Okay. So here in our topology, our Ubuntu server will be the DHCP server, and the Windows server will be the DHCP client. Okay, so each DHCP server requires at least one scope. Okay, so in order for us to create that scope, we need to edit the configuration file of the DHCP that is installed in our Ubuntu. So I just find the configuration file. Then nano DHCP d.conf. Okay. Then you just need to change domain name. Okay. So what will you input here? For example, I'm going to use our domain name, TeamRivan.com. Okay. Then the DNS server that you want to be leased to your clients. Okay. For example, you want the DNS of data. So the Google. Okay. Just after that, type authoritative. Okay, so what does authoritative means? Authoritative means that it is the only DHCP server that is authorized to give or to lease IP addresses. Okay, let's now declare the network by typing subnet 192.168.24.0, then netmask 255.255.255.0, curly brace open, then type range the, let's say 24.50 up to 192.168.24.150. Okay, then option routers 192.168.24.1 semicolon close curly braces. Okay, option domain dash name rivanschool.com. You usually assign the domain of your company here. Okay, option domain dash name dash servers. You can put any IP address of any DNS server here or the DNS of your company. Default dash lease time 600. It means 600 seconds or 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, the DHCP server will check the client if it is still alive or active. Max dash lease dash time 7,200 seconds or 2 hours. It means that after 2 hours, if the PC is dead or inactive, the DHCP server will take back the IP address back to the DHCP pool. The DHCP pool is like the database of the IP addresses that we have. Okay, then you declare your network. Then you declare the range from 24.50 up to 24.150. So the very first client will receive an IP address of 24.50. Then finally, option routers. Okay, we declared 192.168.24.1. Usually, the default gateway on your network. This is the default gateway on our network. Okay, let's just save the configuration by pressing Ctrl X, press Y, then enter. Okay, so we just need to restart the service. System CTL restart ISC-DHCP-server. Okay, press enter. Then check the status. Enter. So it must be active and running. Okay, since our DHCP is not working, let's test it. I'm just going to go back here. And remember that the DHCP service is now running on our Ubuntu. Okay, for our test environment, the Windows server will be the client. The Windows server must get an IP address from the Ubuntu server. So let's try that out. Okay, I just need to go back to my Windows. Alright, turn this on. Okay, wait for a couple of seconds. Just log in. Go to Network Manager. CPA.cpl. Then yeah, wait for it to discover the DHCP server. Check status. Then go click the details. Okay, the Ubuntu server gives me the IP of 192.168.24.50, gateway 192.168.24.1, and the DNS of 8.8.8.8. Okay, since it is now working, how about if we do it vice versa? The Ubuntu will be the client, then the Windows server will be the DHCP server. Let's just change this to this one. Okay. Okay, first we need to stop the DHCP service on Ubuntu. Just need to go back here. So it's still running. Just need to stop system. Let's stop ISC-DHCP-server. Check the status. Okay, so it's inactive or dead. And change the IP configuration from static to dynamic. So how to do that? Just go to the Network Manager, Work Settings, IPv4. So from being manual, click the automatic, then turn this on, and erase this one. Apply, restart, on and off. Okay. Check if it still has an IP, so IP-ADDR. So it doesn't have an IP anymore. Okay, now let's set the Windows to static. Just right click, Properties, IPv4, then click Use the following IP address. Let's say I'm going to use 192.168.88.1 for my IP, /24, then gateway 168.88.1, DNS 8.8.8.8, then click OK. Okay. Okay, remember the first requirement for a DHCP server is you need to have a static IP. Okay, first requirement, static IP. Second requirement, we need to install the DHCP service or the application. So unlike in Ubuntu, in Windows server, we don't need an internet to install the DHCP. We just need to go to Server Manager, Manage, Add Roles and Features, click Next, Next, another Next, then find the DHCP server here, add features, click next, 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 then install. Okay, so wait for it to be installed. Okay, once the installation is done, let's try to configure it now. Just go to Tools and find the DHCP. Okay. Click this one, then click IPv4, right click, new scope, click next. Then give any name that you want. This will be the name of the DHCP server. For example, I write TeamRivan. It's good. Click next. Okay, supply the start IP and the end IP. So this is the scope or the range. Let's say 192.168.88.150 up to 192.168.88.250. Okay, click next. Just click next here. Then list duration 8 days, the amount of time the client can use the IP address. Click next. Click next. Okay, the default gateway 192.168.80.1. Click add. This is the IP address of our Windows server 88.1, the static. There we go. Let's go back to our Ubuntu and check the new IP. Okay, I just need to type IP addr. So the new IP is 192.168.88.50 since it's the start IP that we declared in our scope, and Ubuntu is our only client. Okay, then let's check it out in the network manager. Settings. Has an IP of 192.168.88.150. Still on DHCP mode. Default route, the gateway, and the DNS. Okay, so earlier we declared two DNS, 8.8.8 and 4.2.2.2. So you have the primary hop, 8.8.8, and the secondary DNS, 4.2.2.2. Let's now discuss the 4 phases in how DHCP works. Okay, first phase, DHCP discover. The interaction between the server and the client starts. The client will send a discover message to all the devices in the network until it finds a DHCP server. Second phase, DHCP offer. After the client discovers a DHCP server, the DHCP server will offer a network configuration setting for the client that contains the IP address, gateway, and DNS. Third phase, response to the offer, indicating that the client has accepted the network configuration. Fourth phase, acknowledge. DHCP acknowledge message to confirm that the request has been accepted, that the client is now connected to the network. To summarize everything that we have done, first, we learned how to do static addressing. Second, we learned how to install the DHCP service. Third, we learned how to configure it on both Linux and Windows. You also learned how to bridge your virtual machine to your wireless network, and the difference between static and dynamic. Okay. I hope that you have learned something from me. Have a nice day. Thank you.